Well, good morning to all of you across Southeast Asia. This is EURAXESS ASEAN. My name is Susanna Renzo-Vaso, and you have just joined us for the very first session of this year's European Research Day. I'm very excited to see that we have so many of you joining us. Last count, we had over 350 registrations from 20 different countries. So we hope that more people will join in. The European Research Day is, of course, the flagship event of EURAXESS ASEAN. This is the 5th time in a row that we're running this. And this is really our platform for you, the research community across Southeast Asia, to connect you to Europe, to showcase to you what the opportunities are for collaboration with research peers in Europe, and maybe also for mobility opportunities in Europe. I'm very happy that we are joining forces this morning with the Young Scientist Network Malaysia. As you can see, the panelists are already excited to start a fantastic dialogue with you. But very first, I'd like to introduce you to our guest of honor today. It's Mr. Francesco Flores. He is the head of the Trade and Economics section at the European Union Delegation to Malaysia. And Francesco is joining us today to give a little welcome speech. Now, he has some problems with his camera, so we'll just see his picture. So I'll be inviting Francesco now to say a few words, and at the same time, I will show you a picture of him. Just give me a second, I'll share my screen, and you should be able to see Francesco now. And Francesco, please, if you can give your talk.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Tuan tuan puan puan. I'm delighted to welcome you to the 2020 edition of the European Research Day Malaysia. As Susanna said, it's the 5th event in this flagship series organized by EURAXESS ASEAN with the support of the European Union Delegation to Malaysia and the member states of the European Union. Unfortunately, I'm not able to welcome you in person. As we all know too well, the ongoing COVID pandemic restricts our work and our daily lives, not only here in Malaysia, but indeed across the globe. This is why this year's European Research Day will be a virtual platform. Increasingly, research and innovation are global activities that require cooperation between multiple partners in order to find more effective solutions to global challenges. Not only the current COVID pandemic, but other challenges such as lack of food and water, energy security, health, and climate change do not respect national borders. They are global problems. The mobility of researchers is therefore essential. It is the underpinning of international research cooperation, since it provides an opportunity for researchers living and working in different parts of the world to come together, to share their knowledge and experience, and to tackle these global problems. So why should you consider Europe as a research destination? Let me give you a few statistics. Europe spends 20% of the world expenditure on research and development, and nearly 1/3 of the world's high-impact scientific publications come from Europe. European researchers are also responsible for close to 30% of the world's patent applications. Thousands of students and researchers from Malaysia and from across ASEAN have already benefited enormously from pursuing higher education degrees and research fellowship in Europe through such programs as Erasmus Mundus, Horizon 2020, and a large number of bilateral funding schemes. Just a couple of weeks ago, an additional 19 institutions from across Asia were selected as partners under the prestigious Marie Curie program, Marie Curie Research and Innovation Staff Exchange Program. And I know that quite a few of you will also have submitted an application for the postdoctoral fellowship, Marie Curie postdoctoral fellowship, at the end of last week. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for a successful outcome for all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, this year's European Research Day is dedicated to promoting the multiple opportunities that are available to researchers in Malaysia and across Asia, for collaboration with their European research peers and to advance their research career in Europe. More than 1,500 researchers have signed up for the excellent webinars which will take place over the next 5 days. I encourage you to take full advantage of the information you will gather in these virtual sessions. Research cooperation is a vital element in the strong relationship that the EU and its member states enjoy with Malaysia and with Asia as a region. My sincere thanks to all speakers who will kindly share valuable information with us over the next few days. I would like to thank Dr. Susan Renzo-Vazu, the regional representative of EURAXESS ASEAN, for organizing this important platform. I look forward to meeting you all in person in the very near future and to learning of the many new projects that have resulted from this year's European Research Day Malaysia. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Francesco. That was really nice. And as we can all tell, 2020 is not a normal year. We would normally all be together in a conference room somewhere, networking not only through our screens, but face to face. But I think what's also shown us, the current pandemic shows us that international cooperation is as important as it has always been, if not even more important. A lot of these challenges that Francesco just mentioned have been pushed to the forefront. We all know that vaccine research, for example, are working to develop a vaccine in a much shortened time frame to what they would normally be working in. And I know that a lot of our participants today are concerned, how do I conduct international collaboration in this new framework where I can't physically move? How do I further my career? International collaboration is very important to career advancement for young researchers like most of you are, I assume, today. So this is why EURAXESS ASEAN joined forces with the Young Scientist Network Malaysia. And I'm very, very happy that we have them here on screen today for a really interesting session on how to establish and maintain an international research network or international collaboration during a pandemic. And I will hand over now to Dr. Sarah Siti Othman. She is the co-chair of the YSN's working group on international collaboration. She will manage this panel, and I really, really look forward to hearing from our panelists today on how we can all learn what good things we can take away from the current situation and which bad things we just, file under not so good. So with this, Sarah, I will hand over to you.
Thank you, Susan, and also thank you to Mr. Francesco Flores for a very warm and welcoming opening for our webinar session today. So I think Susan has introduced me. I'm Sarah Othman. I'm an associate professor of the Department of Cell and Molecular Biology from the Faculty of Biotechnology and Biomolecular Sciences, Universiti Putra, Malaysia. I'm also the co-chair of the International Networking Group of the Young Scientist Network, Academy of Sciences, Malaysia. As Susan mentioned, the European Research Day Malaysia 2020 is an annual event organized by EURAXESS ASEAN. It will actually be ongoing from the 21st to 25th of September with a series of webinars that will guide interested participants like you guys to what are available for each of us to advance our research career in Europe. To commemorate the opening of European Research Day Malaysia 2020, we, YSN-ASM, are collaborating with the EURAXESS ASEAN to organize the webinar today. So as Susan mentioned, today our topic is how to build and maintain an international research network during a pandemic. There are two very important elements here that we are going to look at together. With the first of them will be on how to build an international research network, and followed by how do we ensure a sustainable research relationship during this trying time. And we have been blessed with 5 panelists with us today that will guide us to unravel these elements together, to share their insight, their how-to, their experience and tips. Let me introduce them briefly. So let's start with, we have Dr. Chai Lei Ching. Hi, Chai. She is a microbiologist and a senior lecturer from the Institute of Biological Sciences, Universiti Malaya. She is currently the chair of the Young Scientist Network, Academy of Sciences Malaysia. This network represents top young researchers in the country who are committed to contribute to the national ecosystem beyond their individual research interests. Dr. Chai currently serves as the Malaysian expert on microbial risk assessment for the ASEAN Risk Analysis Center. She is also involved in promoting biosafety and biosecurity in Malaysia. She was selected and provided a fellowship to participate in the United Nations Office for Disarmament Affairs Global South Biosecurity Diplomacy Workshop in Switzerland in 2019. And her research and leadership in promoting research integrity, inclusivity, and excellence has been recognized through multiple awards, such as the L'Oreal UNESCO Women in Science Award in 2018, Marie Claire's Amazing Woman in Malaysia, Prestige 40 Under 40 Malaysia, and the Asian Woman Entrepreneurs Leadership Award. Dr. Chai, thank you for joining us today. Next, we have Associate Professor Dr. Shyamala Doraisamy from the Department of Multimedia, Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology, Universiti Putra, Malaysia. She received her PhD from Imperial College London in 2004, specializing in the field of music information retrieval, and won an award for her music and computing innovation at the Invention and New Product Exposition Impact, Pittsburgh, USA in 2007. Dr. Doraisamy just recently returned to Malaysia from her secondment as a visiting scholar at the School of Computer Science, University of Lincoln, United Kingdom. She is UPM's partner lead for 2 large-scale research collaboration under the European Union Horizon 2020 MSCA RISE program with University of Lincoln as the consortium coordinator, and has now been appointed as an honorary research fellow of the College of Science, University of Lincoln, United Kingdom. Very exciting to have you here today, Dr. Shyamala. With us today, we also have Associate Professor Dr. Eddie Chia Swetling, the head of the UPM Magna Cancer Research Laboratory, Institute of Biosciences, Universiti Putra, Malaysia. His research interest is to genetically modify Newcastle disease virus to harbor immunomodulatory gene for the treatment of cancer. Dr. Eddie has spent 2 years in the Department of Oncology, University of Oxford, for his postdoctoral training under the supervision of Professor Dr. Lane Seymour. And upon coming back together with his mentor, Professor Datin Paduka Dr. Khatijah Yusof, he has managed to secure a Newton Onco-Oma research collaborative matching grant with the Oxford team in 2017. Thank you for joining us today, Dr. Eddie. With the spirit of togetherness, with us today, we also have 2 of our fellow ASEAN scientists, and we have one from Thailand, Dr. Van Bimon Satsmer Prom from the National Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology, Biotech, under the National Science and Technology Development Agency, NSTDA, Thailand. She is currently the principal investigator and a leader of Fish and Shrimp Molecular Biology and Biotechnology Research Team. In 2018, she was awarded a Newton Advanced Fellowship from the Royal Society and the British Academy to develop RNAi-based algal technology for disease control in shrimp cultivation. The project was in close collaboration with leading researchers from University of Kent and University of College London. In addition, the Thai-UK team recently has received International Collaboration Award from Royal Society and the British Academy to continue the algal research for aquaculture till 2022. Welcome to the webinar, Dr. Van Bimon. Is it okay if I call you Dr. V? Thank you. And our 5th panelist is also a member of the ASEAN Young Scientist Network, Dr. Tai Nguyen Nguyen from the Department of Civil Law, Ho Chi Minh City, University of Law of Vietnam. Dr. Nguyen has received his PhD in 2016 from the University of Toulouse, France in commercial law. He then received a scholarship from the Max Planck Institute in Germany for innovation and competition with the research topic Untitled Intellectual Property Law for Pharmaceutical Products. Dr. Nguyen has been working in Germany and France for these past years. Thank you for joining us today, Dr. Nguyen. To kickstart our webinar today, I would like to invite each of the panelists to introduce themselves further, and let us start with Dr. Chai. Let me get Dr. Chai's slides on. Just a moment. Okay.
Okay. So thank you, Dr. Sarah. So can you all see my slide over here right now? Okay. So very good morning to everyone. Yeah, first of all, so I would like to thank EURAXESS for inviting the Young Scientists Network, Academy of Sciences Malaysia to co-organize this webinar on how to build and maintain an international research network during a pandemic. So in fact, the topic and objective of this webinar to promote international research collaboration is fully in line with the goal and strategic plan of YSN-ASM to facilitate networking opportunities and promote career in science among the young researchers. So today, please allow me to take this opportunity to introduce the Young Scientists Network, or in short, YSN-ASM, to all of you over here. YSN-ASM was actually established in 2012 under the umbrella of the Academy of Sciences Malaysia. It is
sorry.
Yes.
Yes. We are currently not looking at your screen. Sorry, just to stop you there.
Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes, perfect. Perfect now. Thank you.
Okay, yes. So YSN-ASM was actually established in 2012, so under the umbrella of the Academy of Sciences Malaysia. It is a platform for the young researchers to actually advance science in Malaysia and also to contribute to the country as well as the people. So to become YSN member, they must be Malaysian, 40 years old and below, holding PhD, so in either sciences, natural sciences, or social science and humanity. So the selection is actually based on scientific merit and also commitment to service. So also, YSN-ASM opened up the affiliateship to those who are very early, to those who are in very early stage of their career and therefore might not have reached the scientific merit to be YSN member, but are very eager to service, and also to the non-Malaysian researchers who are currently working in Malaysia. So currently we have around 180 members and affiliates from more than 30 institutions that include universities, research institutes, governmental agency, and also industry throughout Malaysia. So YSN-ASM has 8 working groups that include science leadership, science outreach, science communication, science education, science policy and governance, science integrity, science at media, and last but not least, science international networking that Dr. Sarah is currently the co-chair. So these 8 working groups plan and carry out activities to realize the 4-pillar strategic plan of YSN-ASM. So the strategic plan of YSN-ASM focuses on researchers, the STI ecosystem, the society, and finally globalization, in which we aim to strengthen international and local alliances to tackle both national and international issues. So the strategic plan clearly shows that supporting activities and promoting international collaboration is always at the core focus of YSN-ASM, as we envision to provide a platform for young scientists to excel and also to serve the country and the world. So just let me, in very brief, to give you some example of activities that has been carried out or done by YSN in the past 8 years. So YSN-ASM has organized and involved in many activities that are carefully mapped and aligned to fulfill our strategic plan. For example, we worked very closely with L'Oreal Malaysia to support the women in science. We also work to develop science communication module that provide skill sets for researchers to improve their communication skill, which is very important in research collaboration as well as in science diplomacy and science advice. So this is a line, like, in our first pillar, strategic pillar of researchers, to empower young scientists as a strategic partner and agents of change in supporting national research agenda. So the second one, like, we have our responsible conduct of research, which is one of our flagship program under the pillar of SDI ecosystems. We work together with many stakeholders as well as USNAS to come up with this module. So in the aim to foster integrity and scientific excellence in RDCI, in our research development, commercialization, innovation. So through a very strong support network. So we work together with many stakeholders that include industry partners, to conduct many science outreach programs to educate the public and also to popularize science, like, in Malaysia. And last but not least, to strengthen international and local alliances, like, to tackle national and global issues, YSN-ASM has established networking with various international and also local stakeholders and partners. I would like to highlight some of the international collaboration and engagement that we have had so far. For example, we work together with ASEAN Young Scientists Network to co-organize the annual ASEAN Emerging Researchers Conference since 2018. We also participate in the organization of the upcoming Commonwealth Science Conference next year in 2021. So in which, like, I serve as one of the steering committee in the organization of the conference. We also form very strong partnership with US National Academy of Sciences on responsible conduct of research. Also, we linked up with the Australian Academy of Science, in which we actually send our members to participate in the activity in Australia, as you can see in the picture over here. So this slide just to show you a very brief glance, like, over the networks that we have established so far internationally and also locally. So just to highlight, like, some of the international partner over here, YSN-ASM actually have formed, like, very close relationship with, like, Global Young Academy, ASEAN Young Scientists Network, TWAS, and also, like, the other national young academy from the other country, like the Thai Young Scientists Academy, the Argentinian National Young Academy, and so on and so forth. Other than the academic partnerships, so we also form very strong collaboration with the industry. So when we talk about collaboration, it's not just about academic, so but also, like, to serve the national needs. So we form collaboration with industry, like, such as L'Oreal on the Women in Science project, with Merck in science outreach program, with PetroScience, with the Chemical Company of Malaysia, and so on and so forth. So with that, like, I do not want to take up more time, like, to introduce more. So if you are interested to know more about Young Scientists Network, so you can go to the website, our YSN website, or the Facebook to check out on Young Scientists Network. With that, so I would like to stop here and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chai. A very inspiring sharing, especially for young and also early career researcher in this webinar. If you have questions, please post in the question tab at the right panel of this interface, and we will address it shortly after the round of introduction. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Shyamala to share her stories with us. Let me allow you some moment. Okay. Okay. Can you share your screen? Yeah, perfect. I think you need to unmute.
Yeah, all right, okay. Thank you very much. Very good morning, and thank you for the opportunity for me to speak this morning on how to build, how to build and maintain an international research network. So today I'm going to talk about my experience and of how I actually got into this large-scale international collaboration. Right now, I'm UPM's partner lead and experienced researcher for 2 projects funded by the European Union's Horizon 2020 Research and Innovation Program under the MSCA and RISE grants. And these are 2 large-scale grants, the UltraCept and the Step to Dyna. These are large-scale international consortium and includes academic and industry partners from United Kingdom, Germany, Japan, China, Argentina, and Malaysia. And amongst the aims of the MSCA RISE are knowledge creation, sharing know-how, and skills development. These are valuable opportunities for research groups in early growth stages to expand and build world-class research labs, working with a large pool of researchers at different stages in their careers. So MSCA RISE secondments also provide research labs access and facilities to equipment. So I'm the partner lead for these two projects, and I have two members from UPM seconded for the UltraSep and the Step2Dyna projects at partner institutions. Home institutions, staff and students from the Department of Multimedia of Computer Science, Faculty of Computer Science and IT, UPM. And we are a small group of researchers from the Research Lab, Digital Information Computation and Retrieval Research Group. I have two members, my student, Siawas Barami, who is an early stage researcher at University of Lincoln now, and Azrin Azman, who's an associate professor and experienced researcher, also working on these two projects. Now, today I'm just going to say how a lot of people ask, how did you start international research and networking? And I think internationalization and globalization of research activities is become almost a necessity now with multidisciplinary projects, where specialized expertise may not readily be available locally. So my advice is the moment you start your work, your career, start today. You have to think of globalization and internationalization. I will just start a little bit about my journey here, where I started in a small little lab when I was doing my master's in Universiti Malaysia Sarawak, and the university was actually just being built, and we actually literally in a little hut. But at that point, we had international collaborator advisors coming to the university and negotiating and developing research ideas. But anyway, for my master's project, there was an external researcher from Australia who came in and who examined my thesis, and that was quite long ago. And he said that your thesis has to be put up on the internet, and that was Universiti Malaysia Sarawak, from the small little lab, put up my thesis in the web. And it was quite a journey, because after many years, I get an email from Canada, the researcher and the algorithm developer, who said, "Oh, this is interesting, and I'm really glad to know that my research is being developed in that region." But that was many years back. But putting that idea across and the proposals across to when I was doing my PhD, and put the ideas across to United Kingdom, and Imperial College picked it up. And from there, I continued working on the same idea on music ritual, trying to sing and retrieving musical sequences. So from there, even before I reached my United Kingdom, I just wrote a small little paper. My supervisor said, it would be important for you to actually write this proposal and put it out into conferences. Before reaching United Kingdom, my papers were already published. And so what I'm trying to say is, you can be anywhere in a small little lab, put your research across to the world, and it will be heard, and you will build your, so wherever you are, you need to continue working globally and as much as possible. That is one. Start with your postgraduate research. For all those young researchers, start on day one. Start talking internationally, globally. And the other way to start building an international network. So for me, from there, I went into conferences year after the year, and from United Kingdom, publishing and meeting people, networking in conferences, international, in USA, in Europe. And I started meeting the same people year after year during these conferences, and building a network. So that is one other way. So people you meet in the conferences, continue working year after them. And so coming back to Malaysia, we continued working with University of Waikato, with researchers that I met. And we were looking at grants, but certain grants requires that you're required to do a memorandum of understanding first between the universities. So we had formulated that memorandum of understanding first before applying for any international grants. But however, at that point, the MOU was signed, but a lot of activities were coordinated between the university with staff exchange, training, and things and such research activities. However, I didn't get the grant. So the next attempt was, and then the other advice is, of course, to always continue working with your PhD supervisor, and that continued we continued working together for many years. Whether we were when I was organizing conferences, giving keynotes, and inviting for research activities. And again, we worked on 2 large-scale proposals for Ungkun Omar and EPSRC, although that those grants were not successful, but however, it was an important learning curve on applying for international research grants. The last one was when I continued with these activities, and still we continued trying. And when I went for my sabbatical, again, I gave talks at the universities, and people were interested in the work that we're doing and interested in collaborating. And I was the coordinators of the MSCA RISE were there, and they were very keen to collaborate with my research lab here at University. It's a small research lab at Universiti Putra, Malaysia, and that is how we continued to work. And coming back in 2016, continued working on those grants and coordinating this MSCA RISE, which has been a wonderful success for us for getting our work across internationally. But with this research grant, what is important is that we are able to bring a team of researchers, young researchers and also experienced researchers, which are important for us to actually work globally at research labs internationally, where there are a pool of researchers from all over the world working together. So the next thing is, of course, maintaining. Once one is getting the grants and continually maintaining these relationships and trying your best to continue internationalization. Always be proactive, look at grants calls, look at expertise, and now there's always this matchmaking databases and profiles, writing follow-up grants and expanding. Don't stop. Start from day one and do not stop. Yes, locally and internationally. And of course, the other advice I say in maintaining is plan the work and work the plan with collaborators. With this, we have 18 partners and it is not very easy coordinating. We have a wonderful project manager who's coordinating all of us researchers all over the world, talking in different languages and different cultures, but bringing us all into different labs together. So taking responsibility and ownership of tasks, that work packages, and maintaining a good research reputation, and constant communication both with progress and setbacks. So maintaining and communication with your research partners internationally is also important. So now I'll get into pandemic. Of course, I was right smack. We started our project, the UltraCept, in 2018, and it ends in 2020. So this beginning of this year, we thought, I think we were all in denial that this was happening, because we were all right smack in data collection at University of Lincoln, me and my team. And I think we went, no, this is not happening. This can't be happening. So it's going to go away, but it has continued. So I think after a denial, about 1 month, I think everybody took grip of themselves and let's get on with this. So what was important, that we were working with the funders, coordinators, project managers, now continue to look at extensions, transfer and redistribution of workload to continue and working, and so that we can be able to achieve this aims of this project in 4 years. So I think mitigation plans, but coordination was very highly important, and I think administrators are just as important as the researchers. So I think now building and maintaining I have been speaking about networking, going to conferences, face to face, keep talking to people. But I think now it's the new normal. Maybe we are possibly moving away from these traditional approaches. I've been an advocate of face to face, hello, and shaking hands. But I think we have to move on, that this might not be happening for young researchers or any other researchers who are trying to do international. So webinars like this, thanks to Suzanne and Sarah for organizing this, I think is useful to get the message across, get into grant calls, and get into coordinators who are able to help you out with this. So profiles. But as I said, there are two ways for me. It happens that to get large-scale collaboration one is that there are collaborators who are already ready with a proposal and looking for partners, and then they matchmake with you. Or the other one is for you as a researcher. As I said, put out your work. Somebody will pick it up. For example, as I said, the crazy idea of singing or query by humming, put it out. Somebody will pick it up and say, hey, this is an interesting idea. I want to work with you. So there's always the two-way approach of trying to get into what is this collaboration with international partners. Look at the grant calls and continue working. So these are researchers in motion. This is the group in University of Lincoln, and then meetings. This is down there is the preparation of the researchers from UPM, and then where they were brought when they came over to University of Lincoln, and we continue working there with the proposals, and actually, as I said, plan the work and work the plan. So that was the planning stages, and right down to execution. Hopefully we'll finish this by 4 years. And then before pandemic, just trying to show you before pandemic, the meetings, and then the data collections of what I'm doing now, no longer music, but trying to get the music of the tire and getting the sounds of the tire so that we can assess and make it safer for the roads. But basically that's us there with my team, and again, I'm just trying to show, as I said, that was the basic halt, and we were very happy. It was all at that point was winter and I think spring when we started, and everything became on a halt. And you can see where, as soon as the lockdowns were, we ran and continued collection of data at our proving ground in Millbrook. It's already summer. You can see we were all stressed out. But anyway, that's basically us now meeting over the web. No longer face-to-face, but still trying to keep the research going. So I think this is just to show that from me and my lab when I was doing in I'm not going to say when, but many years back when I was trying to get this idea, and when this idea was developed and for my PhD and continued as a product exhibition. So, and this is the Malaysian researchers in USA and in Asia Research News, and then to right now with Europe and EURAXESS. Thanks, Suzanne, who contacted me for the interview. Thanks, Suzanne. And I hope that's the journey to continue and working and building and maintaining research, international research networking before the pandemic and during the pandemic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Shyamala. Such an interesting journey, and I can see very motivational as well. So keep the question coming, guys, and we will get to it soon. So for now, if you look on the right tab of the GoTo meeting, you will see a tab called polls, P-O-L-L-S. We're gonna initiate a poll for all of us to vote. Please look at the poll. Tap on your right panel, click open and vote. So the question today is, how interested are you in research collaboration with Europe? You can select one of the following: very interested, somewhat interested, and not interested, right? So we got about 95% very interested. Okay, got one, maybe not interested. So maybe after this webinar, it can change his or her mind. Okay. All right, so at least we have about 94% very interested and about 6% somewhat interested. So it's all about the questions that you wanted to ask. You wanted to know more on how the 5W1H. So let's just move on to the next presenter. So now I would like to invite Dr. Eddie to share with us his journey. Dr. Eddie, please. You have to unmute, I think.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Yeah. All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much to the organizer for giving me this opportunity to share with you my experience on the International Research Network. I think Dr. Shyamala has present everything that we are supposed to discuss with everyone and talk about. And well, I try to talk about my background, and so that I hope you can relate my background to you and see whether you can gain something from it. All right, so a little bit of background about me. I obtained my BSc in microbiology from Universiti Putra, Malaysia back in 2002. Okay, and continue my MSc in the same university under the supervision of Professor Khadijah Yusof. Upon completion of my study, I did not continue my PhD immediately, but I decided to go to work in a local college as a lecturer. One of the reasons is that back then I know I like to be a researcher. I know I like to do research, but I'm not so sure about teaching, because it comes together. When you do research and teaching in the university, you do both. And now it's even more. Okay, anyway, all right. Having the opportunity to work in a college, making me realize that this is a career that I want to be for the rest of my life. And even though I have been working, I still keep a close contact with my previous supervisor, Professor Khadijah. And when I told her that it's time for me to stop working and to continue my PhD study, she immediately offered me the opportunity, say, right, why don't you just come back to my lab and continue whatever that left over. So I resigned from college. It's a huge decision to make at the age of 30, to resign from a job that gives you salary, and suddenly you're out of salary, and then you're coming up from your saving to continue to study. And begin my life as a student. That was quite challenging. So not so much about what my study, but after graduated, I was offered the positions of a lecturer in the Department of Microbiology, Faculty of Biotechnology and Biomolecular Sciences, Universiti Putra, Malaysia. So this whole background about my study is actually giving you an idea that I don't have the opportunity to go overseas for my postgraduate study, but it doesn't make me less than people who study overseas. So being a so-called local breed, we are the one who bleed all the way from bachelor to master and PhD. Not only having all my degree from the Malaysia, but also from the same university. I was encouraged by the university to gain some research experience overseas, which is something that I always wanted to. However, writing emails to professors overseas have been a daunting experience for me, as I've sent so many emails during my BSc and MSc studies asking for opportunity to be their students, but were turned down. I'm sure many of us have that experience, sending email, no return, no reply, and you were like waiting and waiting. And well, I guess the best way to defeat the evil is to face the evil. So I started writing, sending email again to a few professors who are expert in the field of cancer viral therapy, or we are using virus to kill cancer. This is a field that I'm interested in. So I was quite fortunate after waited for a few weeks. I must emphasize here weeks and not days. A few weeks. Professor Len Seymour from University of Oxford wrote back to me and requesting for an interview. So after going through the interview, I was offered to do my postdoc training in the anti-cancer viruses and cancer vaccine research group, Department of Oncology, University of Oxford. So what I'm trying to share here is like, don't worry, getting reject or not getting reply is very common. Maybe you are just waiting for the right person and the right timing for you. And during the postdoc training, not only I have the opportunity to work in a very conducive research environment, I also get to know many good friends inside and outside of the lab. Len is a very good supervisor and mentor. During this training, I also have many fruitful discussions with him, and towards the end of the training, we decided to continue our collaborations by applying the Newton Unko Fund under the bilateral medical and health research in non-communicable disease in 2016. That was towards the end of my training there. And we were awarded the grant in 2017 and continue our research collaborations, even though we are far apart. So I guess the good things about joining the research lab there, being a postdoc rather than a postgraduate student, is like we don't have deadline. Well, of course, we have deadline of 2 years training, but we don't have deadline that we need to submit our thesis, we need to publish publications or whatever. You just do your research on the basis of like how much you love doing research, and you do whatever you like during the postdoc training. So during the training also, I get to know many good friends whom I'm still collaborating, even at the time of COVID-19 pandemic. We applied several Malaysian grant, Malaysian government's Ministry of Higher Education's grants together, and we were awarded a few, and we published a few papers together. And recently, one of my friends, this is what I mean, like you go overseas, don't just stay in the lab, get to know more people there. And one of my collaborators, one of my friends who are from Oxford, who is working on the SARS-CoV vaccine, is collaborating with me now to develop a vaccine together, even though we are far apart. So he sent the plasmid over, and then we start working on the system that we have in Malaysia in hope that we can develop a vaccine together. So even though we have not secured a grant to work on the vaccine during the MCO or our movement control orders in Malaysia during March to June, and now we continue until end of this year. But we are still working on it, and yeah. So the moral of story is like you never know what's planning for you in in the future. Maybe you didn't get it during for your postgraduate study, but you have the opportunity to work on it during your postdoctoral study. And now, even after we come back, and I believe that when you do postdoc, you have a better idea of what you want to do in the field of research, and then you can continue to collaborate even further. Like Shyamala have shared with all of us just now about her journey in how to collaborate further with your collaborators or your previous supervisors. All right, I think that's about all that I have to share. Well, I'm welcoming any questions if you have any. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Eddie. Wow, I love how exciting to see the collaboration that you start during your postdoctoral training flourish into a sustainable research relationship. Great job. I wish you all the best to apply for a local and international grant in the future. And now I would like to invite Dr. V to share with us her research journey. Dr. V. Can you share your screen? Okay, perfect.
Okay, you see my screen well, right? Okay. Hello, everyone. I hope all the audience, all attendees still there. My name is Wenvimon Saxmer-Prom, and what am I doing here today? Besides sharing tips and experience with my international grants, I actually would like to introduce to build my international collaborations as well. So with that, I would like to tell you guys a little bit about myself and my work. How do we use this slide? Okay, so I am a leader of fish and shrimp molecular biology and biotechnology research from Biotechnasta. We are locating at Mahidol University, which is a collaborative unit between the university and Biotechnasta. There's a variety of research that we have done in Centec shrimp, particularly for shrimp disease control. I am running RNA interference platform. So yeah, so if I know the audience out there in Malaysia or and other Southeast Asian countries who are also interested in aquaculture, so you are more than welcome to contact me after this. So that's a part of the building international collaborations, right? You always advertising yourself when you have a chance. Okay, so a little bit, right now we are focusing on the projects that we received the grant from Royal Society British Academy, which is antiviral microalgae. We are very grateful that we got 2 awards from Royal Society British Academy. What I will tell you later in details. Yeah, so we received those. First is a Newton Advanced Fellowship, which when we received it, I think our collaborator is more exciting than us because he knows that it's a very competitive grant and only 7% successful rate. So he was very excited, very supportive. And since we received it on 2018, and with our outputs, we are able to get the second grant from Royal Society, which is International Collaboration Awards. And it is a bigger grant, so we are very grateful. And the objective of this project is to generate microalgae-based vaccine for shrimp disease control. I'm going to jump into tips for successful collaborative grant applications, and this is from my personal experience, but I think it's it's useful and it works. So first, you need to know your research expertise. For myself, I know I received my PhD focusing on RNA biochemistry, and I work with RNA interference in mammalian cells, but it's a tool, so you can apply for any other organisms. So when I returned, I got my PhD in US. So when I returned to Thailand, we are one of the countries that focusing on agriculture and aquaculture. So I know my expertise I can apply to aquaculture as well. And that is the way to get grants from the government. And I think most of you probably know that you need to work corresponding to what the government policy or what they're focusing on. But you also, your expertise, and you have to think of the big picture. How would you expand your project, especially this day, for international collaborations, is that respond to sustainable development goals of UN's, which is quite important. This day when you write grants, they would ask if it's that corresponding to SDG defined by UN. And then you can build collaborations. This is even before like new normal COVID-19. You can email, you can do video call, things like that, and you're always ready. Like other panelists said, you're always ready. You're always looking for grant calls, looking for opportunities. So I think these are the tips that I can come up with, and I think it's very useful for at least myself in the past. And okay, so I just want to share you my experience. It's kind of like it's kind of one kind of time that it happens, and I'm great that we are ready for that. This guy in the picture is Professor Colin Robinson. He's a head of bioscience from University of Kent. He knows a lot about European calls, grants, and he's interested in vaccine research. So you know how he reached us, biotech researchers? He just called he just used a phone call. And so he called the lab, and which is not my lab. So things kind of happening. They have discussions with the vaccine lab in biotech, and he flew to Thailand, and that's before, you know, COVID-19. That is 2016. He gave a talk, and somehow his talk, part of his vaccine project, he also interested in algae. So we like, whoa, okay, we gotta, you know, attend this seminar. We are kind of stuck with some kind of technical problems. We went there, August 24, 2016, introduced ourselves, and he is just like, you know, very excited because he, part of his interest also want to do something to help Southeast Asian aquaculture, because he also knows that there's a lot of grants that look for something like this, the objective of to help Southeast Asian countries. And by meeting him, talking to him, email back and forth, and also we sent our staff, Dr. Pei Tai, back then she was a postdoc. So we sent her to do some research in Professor Collins' lab for like, I would say 2 months, something like that. And this is even before we get the big grants from Royal Society. He is very helpful. He support accommodation, and we have just a small grant from the Thai government. And that's how we reach out. And also he even extend our network to Professor Saul Purton at University of College London. Professor Saul is an expert in algal biotechnology, and he even have the algal biotechnology network in UK and other European countries. So this is how we build relationship and create all the network. We send the staff over there, and they also flew into Thailand because they don't know much about shrimp farms, and this is something we can offer them. So we took Professor Saul and also Professor Brenda in this picture. She is interested in downstream processing of algae. So this is like a perfect match for us. He's interested in aquaculture. He doesn't know much about it. He has a tool. We have a tool, and we have the same objectives. And we also send our bright student over there and work with Professor Saul Purton. This is also support from the Thai government. We're lucky that we have this bright student work there. And, you know, she did the senior research there. And with all of our collaborations, we come up with the review paper and also research paper. And with that, we earned these 2 awards from Royal Society British Academy. So I think this is just to share my experience, and this happening right before COVID-19. But let me, just in case anyone interested in the fellowship that I earned, there's some questions on the applications, which I think is important. Is the key questions that you need to be able to answer it well. First is to define your collaborations. They even ask in detail how many times you have met your collaborators, how you meet at video calls, you know, meeting, all that kind of thing. You need to be able to define established collaborations with your partner, and also emphasize benefits on both sides. What have, you know, UK can get benefit from this collaborations, and what Thai researchers could earn benefit from this collaboration. And also outputs from this collaboration, how you maintain this sustainable collaborations. For me, I think is to have the exchange stuff, have PhD students, you have, you produce PhD students, and then they could like end up working in the aspect of they learn, whether you become postdoc or they can work with the private sectors. And also, how could you transfer your technology? You're gonna have a workshop, conference, things like that. You need to have those plans in mind. And also, again, impact not only national, but also regional, international levels. And the very last part, which, I think it's also important to be able to give reasonable budgets. Budget justification is quite important. So I'm pretty sure there will be some workshops that would kind of give you a guideline, how could you write the budgets and all things like that. So these are all important questions for this fellowship, and I think it's probably general questions in other applications as well. About the COVID-19, how would you maintain your collaborations? I think this international collaborations already prepare you for this new normal. We have video call, we writing emails back and forth with Professor Colin. We have video call like once every month, things like that. So that is already like new normal. Is not new for us. We already done that. And also we are currently on this grants, right? And the Newton Fellowship actually is going to end by the end of this month. And I would say, yes, COVID-19 has some impacts on us because we are supposed to have a workshop. We are supposed to fly to UK 3 months ago. Everything got canceled. But keep in mind that the grant agency, like Royal Society, British Academy, they are quite understanding this situation. They even send us some emails that they would try their best to, accommodate us for whatever reasons. So we think that we should be able to extend our project, of course, without additional cost, but that would give us some time to spend our budget, and hopefully we can organize workshop next year. So then we fulfill what we promised. But yeah, I think we don't have to worry too much about the grant agency. They understand the situation. They are very generous. And I think this is the last slide for me. Again, I share my experience, and I also want to build international collaboration out there. So yes, we always open for collaborations. Thank you.
That's perfect. Thank you, Dr. V. How inspiring to know that we always have to be ready. I believe people always associate chances with luck, but again, it's worth to be prepared beforehand while waiting for the lucky strike to happen. So I can see there's many questions being listed, but I'm going to go to Dr. Gun to share with us his experience. Dr. Gun, can you hear us?
Yeah, clearly, yeah.
Can you share your slide? All right, perfect.
So, can you hear my slide? Okay. So, morning, everybody. So, first of all, thank you, Ms. Susan, and also Sarah, for your support in order to have a chance to speak with people about European collaboration. Yeah. So actually, we will speak about some practice about our university. We do University of Law, and we have some collaboration with European University. So that's it. That's what we are doing now. What we are doing now. So I just speak about the practice about the reality what we have with the European University. So first of all, about the collaboration with Europe, and then some obstacle with international collaboration, some solution, and then about some personal experience. So about the collaboration with Europe, we have some master level because focus on university, so we develop some master degree. So what we do is like Erasmus Mundus, which Madam Susan already mentioned about that, Erasmus Mundus. Yeah. So we try to write a letter with some European universities, especially for Belgium, France, and to do the collaboration, to send some students from here to their university, and also we open a master promotion in Vietnam, in Ho Chi Minh City, University of Law. And every year we have around 30 European students. They came here to Vietnam and study. Yeah. So they will have a degree from European University. So they can try to mobility. They can stay here. They can, you know, travel and study. They enjoy exactly like Erasmus Mundus program, but in our version. Yeah, in our version. So we organize a group of professors from Europe and professors from here. We try to do a master things, and we did that from 2010. Yeah, already 10 years already. 10 promotion. Yeah, and all of them now work for United Nations. Some become a lawyer. Some work for European Parliament. Many students. Yeah, we have around 300 students from European country. So I just want to talk about, we discussed to go to Europe, but the way we do it so a little bit different. We make European students to come to our university, because that's interesting if we go to Europe to study, but that's also interesting for European students to come to our university to study. So they have the same degree, they have the same professor from Europe, and then they can travel, enjoy life, and understand about their culture. And every year, according to statistics, because I'm in charge of international relations for university, so they have around 5 or 10 students that stay in Vietnam and work for international well-known law firm. That's very interesting. Yeah. So the first one, we did that for 10 years already. So the second one about the S2020, I heard that some of you mentioned about that already. And we did that the last 2 years with Tallinn University in Estonia. Yeah. And also our network in Estonia network. I tried to write some co-author book with University of Tallinn. And also we give the honor professor certificate to some professor from Estonia. Yeah. So you know that the way we do a little bit, I don't know, we call it centralized the European in Vietnam. Yeah. So we bring the people from Europe to Vietnam. Bring people from Europe to Vietnam. That's a little bit different. So we give some certificate for some honor professor. We give them, yeah, an honor professor from our university, for some professor from Estonia. And also we are also in the network of Estonia Research Network. Yeah. So we can do more research in public paper, everything else. And we send around 10 lecturers from university to Switzerland and University of Lausanne, yeah, and University of Tallinn. Yeah. So we send 10 lecturers go there, and then they also send around 5 or 6 lecturers to go to our university. Yeah. So we did that. We did that. Yeah. We are successfully finished because this year 2020 already. So let's go to the end. Very interesting. A lot of money. Yeah, a lot of money. And the third one is about Asian. Yeah, we look for some opportunity, like Sarah say about young scientists in Asian. So that's very important that this year Vietnam become the secretary of Asian Association. So we also have some small network, some small STEM, some small team to facilitate cooperation between Asian, because we have many funding from European Commission in Vietnam. So we do many things with the Asian things. And the last one is about the CF EU. Basically, this is the influence of Japanese. Yeah, they organize the program. I know Eddie maybe know very well about that program, right? So we take some advantage of CF program because already we have a network. This year there's like 46 years of CF program, and every year we have 300 participants. Yeah. So we have a chance to talk with the CF, the international network, in order to make a further cooperation with the EU, with EU program. Yeah. So from my personal view, the biggest, the first one is about the collaboration with Europe. That many thousand, yeah, because Europe is the center of the world. I think Europe very neutral. Yeah. They very good condition to do research. They're really close to our Asian country, so that's the best destination to do research on. The second is about some obstacle, because I saw that many researchers come back from Europe. They don't have many chances to go to Europe again, because as you know, very expensive. Yeah, we go to the conference, funded, and we go to do the postdoctoral degree, but very short term. Yeah, because we cannot stay for a long time, and the collaboration must be very long period of time. So I think the solution is maybe we make more dialogue. That already Suzanne and Sarah make this dialogue for today. They're really appreciated, very interesting. We can make more dialogue, more speaking, more conference through online platform. So that way we can try to reduce the distance between Asian country and European country. And then about the solution, which just we keep talking, and to make more collaboration as much as possible. And then at the end, from my personal experiences, is we need to do more. Yeah, we need to do more, step by step, from the university level, from some research funding program, from the Asian network, from the CF network. We try to mix every network together. It doesn't matter any domain or any kind of practice. We need to try our best in order to strengthen our relation with Europe. So I think that's all my speak. If you have any questions, just remind to ask the panel.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nguyen. And if you all not know that Dr. Nguyen can also converse fluently in French too. Merci, Nguyen Koyabel. You are awesome. That is as much effort from me trying to speak French. All right, so before I start the roundtable discussion, we have a list of wonderful and exciting questions. I wanted to initiate a poll for us to vote. So please look at the poll tab on your right panel. Right. In your opinion, what are the biggest obstacles to international cooperation or collaboration? So not enough information about opportunities, no idea where to find opportunities, no idea how to get in touch with international partners, not enough funding for international collaboration, or not enough support during application process. So poll in progress, we can see. All right. About 40% don't really know how to get in touch with international partners. right? So we get about 20% about not enough supports during application process, and also they don't have enough information about opportunities, right? I think the major concern here is about no idea how to get in touch with international partners. That will lead us to our discussion questions that I would like to address to, let me see, we have a list of questions from our participant today. So one is from Shahbaz Ali. Thank you, Shahbaz, for the question. What are the ways and approaches to get in touch with the research partners and collaborators? I would like to give this question to Dr. Eddie. What are the ways and approaches to get in touch with the research partners or collaborators?
Well, I think one of the challenges that a lot of us facing is, like you say, on your poll result, like a lot of us don't know how to get in touch with the potential collaborators. Dr. V presented a very good suggestion, a good experience of hers where, they contacted the collaborator way before they're starting to apply for, research. I think at the end of the day is like you just have to initiate your conversations by emailing them, because like the research world is such a big world, and unless you are doing something very niche, in the sense that like that field only have like less than 50 of you working in the same field, otherwise, everyone have everyone. I'm sure all of you will get a lot of email. Like if you're a lecturer, you get a lot of email asking for any vacancies or asking whether you want to collaborate. I think that is one of the challenges that you were, one of the things that you will get from from email from people that you might not know. The same feeling for them. These international collaborators or professors overseas or in Europe, they do not know who you are. So you have to write a very good email and maybe enclose your CV or whatever, and whatever that allow people to see what you're doing, which is relevant. And we are really short of time, or most of the time we are so busy with our work, and we don't want to waste time to collaborate with people whom might not perform. Then you waste the energy to do that, and money as well. So I think a lot of people have that same concerns when they try to reply to potential collaborators. So write a very good email, engage, enclose or attach your CVs, and maybe put a few papers that related to your study or to the field, and send it to them. And hopefully they reply your email. That's one of the things that I can suggest. But I'm not sure about others, other panelists. Maybe they have better ideas on this.
Talk about quality communication. The information that you pass through when you email them is very important as well, right? Okay.
Yes.
And I have another question from Putri Swastika. So she said, we have this idea at this trying time. International collaboration look to be more daunting. We are not sure if universities are open for foreign young researchers. How to improve on confidence to apply for international grant or postdoc position? So she's asking how to improve on confidence to apply for international grant or postdoc position. Dr. Shyamala, maybe you can help us with this. So she's a young researcher.
First of all, I think it is the post for applying for the postdoc. I think postdoc applications are actually usually advertised, as far as I can tell. So actually it is making the application, putting your proposal according to what was required. But unless, of course, the other thing is applying for postdoc directly. So it could be actually for you to actually look, as I said, one is you putting out the proposal, and the other one is the proposal is there and then you are mapping. So one is, as I said, looking at postdocs that are already available, and then you're applying for it. But if you're actually looking at putting your proposal out as a postdoc, then you have to actually identify people who are in this field and then contacting them directly. And then maybe from there, and then just put a very specific proposal that will be to the specific supervisor or possibly collaborator at postdoc. You don't really talk about supervisors, but you talk about collaborators. So look at the labs, look at how you would be able to fit in that lab at postdoc, as opposed to just a PhD research. That's what I think. There's no confidence. It is always, I still believe there's a will, there's a way. And I think, for example, as I said, I started, you don't think about it. It's because if it comes from within, it will be there. I mean, there's no such thing as confidence. That I think that it's just you believe what you're doing is right. And then, of course, the other thing, having said that, sometimes actually writing it up clearly and then get somebody to help you check your language if you're not a native speaker, because I think those, as I said, I've worked with international researchers, all of us are talking different languages, but all of us still trying to communicate. So communicating what you're actually trying to say very clearly, that could be. So I think more than confidence, talk to somebody who might be able to help you. Maybe it is your message doesn't come across, but you have a good idea. Somebody is always, I've gone through that, and somebody is always ready to pick up, and always remember, you're talking to millions of people. There's always that one person who's listening to you. Yeah, thanks.
Perfect.
I hope I answered.
I think I'm also addressing some other questions about asking about a no experience and what you can do. So like Dr. Shyamala said, you can always have also a mentoring system or gain your confidence through communication. And we also have networks or societies around you that you can go and talk, conferences. This will actually build your skills to communicate with others. So don't worry too much about it. Like Dr. Shyamala said just now, plan the work and then work the plan. All right, so I have the next question from Manraj Singh. He's asking, what were the challenges in attaining research collaboration between developed and developing countries? So maybe Dr. V can help us with this. You want me to repeat?
Yes, please.
What were the challenges in attaining research collaboration between developed countries and developing countries?
Well, I think researchers in European countries, I would say European countries, because, we are working with them, they're actually looking for us, to be honest, because, a lot of grants, they aim for helping developing countries. So I think we are actually, we can be hunted and we can hunt them as well. So I don't think it's difficult, as I emphasize the same objectives. So as long as you can find the same objectives between the collaborator from developing countries and yourself. For example, in my case, they interest in helping aquaculture in Southeast Asia, but they don't know much about aquaculture. They only have algal biotechnology. How could they help us? And we have some knowledge about aquaculture. We have farms, we have interest. So I just feel like it's, as long as you match your objective with it doesn't matter developing countries or, if you're talking about technical, like, that's, yeah, they know more about technical aspects, and that's why we want to collaborating with them. But they don't know much about things in Southeast Asia. They don't know about agriculture or aquaculture, what we're doing here, what we need. So I think a lot of grants, they're trying to help developing countries. So just be confident that we actually can offering them the same as they can offering us. I'm not sure if that answered your question, but
perfect.
I think
it's about research and matching. So that there you go. It relates very well with how Dr. Eddie was saying as well, putting yourself up front in the emails and put the right information when you contact the prospective collaborators that are interested in. I have one interesting question on the social sciences background, which will be Dr. Gurn. So Lee Ling Xiu, this question comes from Lee Ling Xiu. She was asking, what is the level of international collaboration and support in Europe for social science research in the field of language, education, design, or arts? What is the opportunity? So what is the, for social sciences?
Yeah. Like Dr. V and Eddie saying, you know, many, many actually. First of all, I think we need to know what we do. Yeah. First of all, because all European country may be interesting to understand about Indonesian culture, Malaysian culture, Thailand culture, or any, you know. So we need to know what is our knowledge can we provide for them. So we need to be confident. Yeah, we need to be confident. First of all, we know what we're doing. And the second is quite a few of social science. There are many, plenty. So for example, we have international law, we have economics law, we have some question about the research of history and everything. Yeah, everything. Because I think that's the University of Oxford, Cambridge, or Harvard, or any university. They have many sectors related to the social science. Yeah, many. So yeah, I think in a brief way, there are many. Yeah, you just go to the university website and select the faculty, and they will show enormous collaboration with in terms of social.
You have to be aware of the cause. That's the most important bit. It's not social, specifically just specific on sciences, but also for social sciences. Look at the different cause that being advertised. I think yes, look in the university website and also look also in the EURAXESS website as well, so that you can actually subscribe to this website, so they can actually email you whenever they have an announcements or information on the ground call. Thank you, Dr. Gurn. That's really good. We actually have one more questions from Malaysia, I think. So to Dr. Chai, how would Young Scientist Network and Academia Sciences Malaysia encourage more collaboration between young scientists with international partners such as EURAXESS? You know, they were asking not enough confidence. So what do you think YSN-ASM can help with this? Any future activity or plan?
Yeah, thank you, Sarah, for the question. So actually, all the while, YSN-ASM has had many activities that we actually design and aim to target, to enhance, collaboration. As, earlier we listened from all the panelists that, collaboration, particularly international collaboration, actually has two parts. First, you need to initiate the collaboration. So to initiate the collaboration is one main thing is that you need to be open so that you get to know people. So under these platforms, so we actually have organized a lot of conferences that to bring people together. So you need to make friends, you need to have this network so that you can establish this relationship that you can bring it further to discuss about collaboration. So for students out there, for young researchers out there, so be always aware there are a lot of, the world is big, but it's all connected. So there are a lot of webinars just like this one. So it's a very good example. And there are a lot of international conferences that we hold. So join the conferences and don't just go there for sightseeing. Get to know people in person and talk, communicate. So that is one of the main things that we do. So under Young Scientist Network, we do have that. And we do have quite a lot of programs that help to polish the skill set of young researchers. For example, communication. For example, how to write a good proposal. So there's been a lot more out there. The second thing that we talk about is how to, when you have already initiated a collaboration, the more important thing to talk about right now is how to maintain it. So I believe that a lot of you have had experience that you have had very bad collaborator, that people don't respond or people don't do their part, and eventually the relationship goes sour. So how to maintain is the next step that we talk about it. So as I've mentioned earlier, that we have this responsible conduct of research program. So one of the topic covered under RCR is actually responsible collaborative research, in which we provide trainings or a platform for young researchers to discuss about collaborative research and to share best practices on how to maintain good relationship with your collaborators and what are the ethical point of view and so on and so forth. So there are a lot more. I think one of the programs that I would like to highlight perhaps is realizing that I think Eddie has mentioned, Prof. Shyamala has mentioned that it's always important to start the collaboration early, and by practicing by reaching out and by having all this experience will help you later on in your career to build stronger international collaboration. Therefore, we came out with this Chrysalis Award, in which I think Sarah probably will have a lot of information to share also. She was one of the pioneers to start this program. So Chrysalis Award is actually an award, a program, a training program, or a leadership training program specifically designed for PhD students. So one of the main thing is that we are currently still in the process of seeking for opportunities to place the winners overseas, in any international institutions or university for a short-term attachment or for a postdoctoral position. So through I think Young Scientist Network, so we hope that next year we will be able to get an opportunity to place our winners over there so that they can initiate and continue this type of international collaboration. Perhaps we should start talking with EURAXESS, and this is a good starting point.
That's really great.
So that's all. Yeah,
about getting together, get out of your office and actually meet with people and talk to them and see what other possibilities, because sometimes just hooking to your computers you don't really get much, although at this trying time we have to get networking through our computers to avoid contact one another. But like I say, for example, joining the webinar like today, like Chai said, you actually meet these people, and bear in mind that all our contacts will be shared in a database that I will tell after this. And I think there's one question from Hiba from Amnatari. So she was asking, comparatively here are very few opportunities in the field of social sciences. How to find such opportunities? How to find people who are relevant to your subjects? And I think Dr. Chai sum up, Young Scientist Network is not just for science, it's also for social sciences. So maybe open the websites and join us and register as an affiliate to see what we can offer you. And I'm sure ASEAN Young Scientist Network offers the same platform as well. I would like to run the last post that we have for this webinar. Let's just open and this post, how could institutions, for example, universities, play a role to promote international collaboration among early career researchers? So you can select one of the following. We can organize seminars like this to promote international networking, actively promote calls by email, for example, at the faculty level, training on how to apply for international research funding, training on best practices of collaborative research, or special fund for European collaborative research to establish international networks. So I'm going to share, so poll in progress. So it's more or less everything. I think institution, university have to be actively promoting this and organize seminars, perhaps a mentoring program, training, even how to actually fill in the form, because there's not all the questions that we are familiar with, not the same as the research landscape application that we have in back home. So I'm gonna, so it's still collecting responses. So let's just get a little bit more. Okay. All right, let's share the result we see. So basically, we have an equal distribution of percentage to all of the answers. So I think this is something that universities have to do to help early career researchers to kickstart, to boost the confidence and to actually fill in the form. and just submit, just contact the person that we need to. So for that, maybe we go around the table for one last keywords or motivational keywords to share with our audience today. Maybe Dr. Chai, start with you.
Yeah, so I just want to say that, like, you know, keep up the good work and get out from your shell. So get communicated, get linked up, like, you know, and talk. So that's how collaboration and a good, like, you know, relationship start.
Dr. Shyamala?
Hi, yes, thanks. Yeah, for me, it is internationalization and globalization and collaborative work. It is just, it's not a choice. It is what you're supposed to be doing as a researcher. So just go and do it. Thanks.
Dr. Eddie?
Be confident with yourself. You are better than you think you are. Just go out, go all the way out.
Dr. V?
Okay. So keep doing good work and be ready for opportunity. That's what my suggestion.
Dr. Gun?
Yeah, I say just apply. Just, you know, apply the paper. That's it.
Do not give up, never give up.
Yeah.
Perseverance. I think Dr. Shyamala also have shown of how perseverance works well in the long run. So although there's still unanswered question, we will actually address it through our social media if you guys would follow us. So at the end, I hope that all the information shared today are beneficial and will be aiding each of us to further pursue our interest in initiating research collaboration with the European counterparts. This webinar is recorded and we will upload the video in the YSN-ASM Facebook and also the Academy of Sciences Malaysia YouTube channel. Please follow us and share this video to your friends that cannot make it today but interested to know more. You can also add on questions at the comments box and we will try our best to contact the panelists to address your question. I would like to especially thank you to all of our panelists today for a passionate and inspiring session. I am really moved by the thoughtfulness of everyone here today. Thank you, Susan and EURAXESS ASEAN for this collaboration. Thank you everyone for your questions and your support to this webinar. I would now pass the webinar back to Susan. Thank you everyone and have a good week.
Well, thank you so much to all of you. I think that was really interesting and incredibly inspiring. And it really matches with, you know, what I always advise researchers as well, to have confidence in themselves. Science is borderless. The challenges that we're facing are borderless, and the solutions can only be found if people work together, no matter where they're from. And this is how everybody thinks. So to those people in the social sciences that are always a little bit concerned, I hear that a lot. There are plenty of opportunities for social scientists to collaborate with partners in Europe. There's lots of funding opportunities. I wanted to just briefly share with you, although there's very little time now, the EURAXESS website, because this is, I think, an answer to a lot of the questions that we've had, which is where to find information about what's happening in Europe. So I will just briefly share my screen here. I hope you can see it. That should be the presentation. Can you see my presentation? I hope so. So basically what EURAXESS is exactly this. It's a database that gives you information on all the funding and career opportunities in Europe. So it's all in one location. There's a job and funding portal there where you find opportunities offered by the European Commission, by this big program, Horizon 2020, as it's currently called. Future, it's going to be Horizon Europe as of next year, but also from all the different countries that are in Europe, Germany, Netherlands, Austria, you name it, you find thousands of opportunities there in all academic disciplines, including the social sciences. We have a partnering tool on the line, which is an opportunity to create your own network. You can reach out to individuals across Europe, to research organizations, but also to industry partners. So you build your own network. And I think this is important. As we heard from the panelists, you need to create your own visibility. If you want to be found, you need to be somewhere. And putting your name and your details into this database makes you visible to potential collaborators and potential funders. There's a hosting database as well. So early career researchers often find it difficult to link up with a university in Europe that would host them as a scholar. So you might have the funding opportunity, but you don't know where is the university to go to. And this hosting database makes this a lot easier for you to find a potential supervisor in Europe. And we have lots of information, of course. You just, take some time and look through this. There's also personalized assistance if you do want to make the move to Europe, or if you need some help in reaching out to that professor that is never replying to his emails. So we have this network of EURAXESS support officers across Europe, and they're there to connect you. So this is what they're doing. I am in Southeast Asia. I am just next door in Singapore right now. So you can always just send me a message if you need some additional advice. And I've put here the QR code for our website, because there you will find, of course, information on our activities. And we do a lot of what we've heard today is needed. We do grant writing workshops, proposal writing workshops. We have guest speakers from our European countries that are talking about the different opportunities. And I'm sharing my slide here. Of course, the European Research Day is going on for another 5 days. We have lined up speakers from Germany, Netherlands, Austria, you name it. So please do go on the website and try and join us for some of these sessions. And I think with this, just my final word would be, you're absolutely right. Science is more or less, you just need to make sure your potential collaborator sees there is something in them there as well. Yeah, it's you need to make sure that they see there's a benefit in collaborating with you, and do not underestimate the value that you bring to the table. I think that's very important that we heard from everyone today. And I think with this, we've run over time, but I always say, it doesn't matter if it's useful. I thank all of you. It was fantastic, and I look forward to working with all of you in the near future, hopefully then face-to-face. So everyone, have a safe day and keep collaborating.